Now, from your weather authority, meteorologist Cody Bailey.
Well, as advertised, and unfortunately as advertised, the heat is here. The heat is sticking around for the next several days. Of course, that heat advisory went into effect earlier today, and it's going to be into effect at least through Tuesday evening. That's what the National Weather Service in Paducah is holding on to. Same for our northern fringe counties that are covered by Central Illinois and the office out of Indianapolis, too. But much of the area until Tuesday evening, but we're going to be just as hot, just as humid Wednesday and likely Thursday, so it would not surprise me at all to see that extended later into the week, next week too. But any way you look at it, very hot, very humid, very uncomfortable, of course, and if you're working outside or during any type of activity outside, could potentially be dangerous. So of course you want to take your precautions, take frequent breaks if you are one of those working out in this heat. Stay hydrated and drink plenty of fluids, and try to stay inside and keep cool as often as you can. But outside right now, other than the heat, not too bad. Not any major issues with our forecast. That's a live look at the 41 strip in Henderson from our Heads Construction tower camera. And we have a little nuisance on the tower camera. We've been watching this wasp. It looks like a wasp behind the scenes on our tower camera. It seems like every summer we get infiltrated by insects on our camera there. But that's our Bill Morgan Roofing and Construction tower camera. And you can see just you can see how hot it is. You see the hazy horizon there out on the east side of Evansville from our Diamond Valley Federal Credit Union tower camera. And that's not the best look there. It's 93 for the air temperature, 73 a very humid dew point. That is well into the very humid range. Of course, the issue is not so much the temperatures, although those are well above normal. It's when you factor in those dew points that are in the low to mid 70s. So 93 again, Evansville, 90 in Henderson. I don't see any 80s right now. So everyone in the 90s until you get to the northeast. Looks like 89 in Lagodi. Fridge looks at 88, but you factor in those dew points. Believe it or not, these are much lower than what some of the locations were showing about a couple of hours ago. We were as high as 105, 106 in some locations. The gauge in Princeton still showing that feels like of 110, but well into the triple-digit range. And again, this is what we're going to be dealing with each day through at least looks like next week Thursday. By next week Friday and Saturday, it looks like we may have a few more numerous showers and storms as opposed to the isolated pop-ups that we'll be dealing with for the beginning part of next week. But again, much of the area, with our exception of our eastern fringe counties there, Du Bois, Perry, Hancock, and Ohio, that are covered by the Weather Service in Louisville, they are still holding off on issuing a heat advisory. But again, if you're in one or you're not, it's still hot, very humid. In fact, we're not alone. We'll zoom out and you can see just how expansive this heat is. This large area of high pressure acting as that heat dome, extending all the way from basically border to border, north to south, and from the New England area, Boston, all the way west towards Denver. These heat advisories, warnings, watches, all in effect for much of this part of the country and a good chunk of the country as well. Doppler radar, though, quiet. That's another side of the pattern that we're in. We're not going to be dealing with anything in terms of organized chances of showers and storms. A couple pop-ups there down to the south and southeast, going towards out of Bowling Green towards the Mammoth Cave area there in south central Kentucky. And mainly clear skies, of course, with that area of high pressure that's going to keep us quiet and keep us hot and humid. But that pop-up I showed you down to the south, that's really our only chance of rain over the course of the next 5 to 6 days. As you see the heat of the afternoon, things bubble up. That energy will get a little bit closer to us by Monday afternoon. So I do think we'll have a few isolated pop-up showers and thunder showers during the heat of the day. Of course, this is something we deal with every summer in this type of environment, where you get to the heat of the day about 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll see things start to bubble up. And then once the sun goes down, we'll see them fade away. Then we repeat it again all over the next day. And that's exactly the scenario that Future Tracker is showing. So in that pattern, not a guarantee that you will even see the rain. If you do, likely a brief downpour, half hour, 45 minutes. A lot of times they rain themselves out, and no organized severe chance. But of course, we have seen those pop-up storms turn severe with hail, maybe some wind. So that's not out of the question, but not an organized, guaranteed chance of rain over the next week, really, until we get to Friday and Saturday. But this evening, very warm, very humid as well. Still in the 80s and only down into the mid 70s for overnight lows tonight. And then we had the forecast today. That's essentially their forecast each day out of the next week. So we've got the heat alerts up until Tuesday as of now. Again, it could extend that heat advisory later in the week. 90 to 95, those feels like temperatures in the heat of the afternoon, 100 to 105, and low temperatures at night, mid 70s. Rain chances look to increase a little bit by Friday. Maybe more numerous showers and storms on Saturday. It could hopefully help knock the heat down a tad as we head into the start of next weekend.